Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Ayo. So we are in the last class of this agreed program. We had decided to do from chapter 1 to 15 because with 15 the teaching ends. 16, 17, 18 are certain topics what were not dealt related to this. But for several years, I had not been taking those 16, 17, 18, saying that too many at a time unnecessarily will confuse you. Master up to 15, then you can study. Now I am starting that next week onwards. Next week onwards, 16, 17, 18 also I'm starting. But the link will be different and the host will be different. Shilpa should be relieved. Poor Shilpa with so many pressure, she did every week and posted promptly. This class was a beautiful class. Should thank God, should thank Gurudev, should thank Kausi, Harsha, Shilpa, all of you. Beautiful class. I enjoyed, Narayana. Thank you all. Yes, so 15th chapter. What is this summary of 15th chapter? What is the summary of entire Vedanta? Entire Vedanta says you have sorrow, it's wrong information. You have death, wrong information. And all that you fear. Worse than death and sorrow is this fear. Sorrow comes now and then. Death comes once in life. But this fear is the continuous companion for us. So this fear should go. All this will go when you have the right knowledge. What is the right knowledge? You are afraid of what? There should be somebody else other than you to be afraid of what? Everybody, your friend, your enemy, birth, death, all are your own expressions. What is there to be afraid of? There is nothing other than you. You are that God who controls the world, Sarvaloka Maheshwara, and who is the best friend of all, Sukhrut. You are that, what you are seeking, total happiness, immortal, blissful. What is it you are worried? Because all of us think that we are the body. That false information and knowledge brings in all other things, fear, death, sorrow, etc. So, whole Vedanta talks about that. And Geetha is the essence of the Vedanta. In that 15th chapter, completely makes us understand how one God alone became the world. That one God alone become you and me, the individual. That one God alone does everything through us, in us. That one God protects us in various forms as sun, the earth, the air, and etc. He says, in you, when you came to life, he brought you. When you leave this body, he takes you. In between, whether you are moving, talking, speaking, he is only doing that for you. And then you need food. That fertility in earth he has provided. You need place to stand. That capacity to hold you on earth he has provided. The food is nourished by moon. And after all that, you want to eat. The energy that lifts is called prana. That's again he puts into the mouth. It should not go to the wrong channel. There are two pipes there. If it goes through the windpipe, you are dead. Who does it? When that has to go, there is a small thing there, hanging, tonsil-like. So that hanging one closes the windpipe when you take the food. Who does all that? He does. Digestion, he does. Circulation, he does. There's nothing that you do. Recognize this one. Who is you? Who is the world? Who has connected you and the world? Who is you? Who is the world? Who has connected you and the world? Who serves you in many ways? That is the real you. This is the subject matter of Vedanta, talking about God, talking about the individual, talking about the world, how we come to this miserable state, bandha, talking about you, Jiva, talking about God, Ishvara, talking about the world, Jagat, talking about our problems, bandha, release, moksha, means sadhana. These are the topics in Vedanta. All these topics have been dealt in chapter 15. We have seen all of them. Now, there are 5 concluding verses wherein he, in the particular verse, what we are going to do now, he gives a lot of hope for us. Sarvasya chaham hrudi samnivishta mattas nuti jnanam apohanam cha vedaista sarvairahameva vedya vedanta krut veda videva chaham. I am the closest to you. Anything other than you is an object. However close it is to you, as an object, it's away from you. But you yourself can never be away from you. Therefore, you are the closest to yourself. That you is God. He says, Sarvasya, of all people, aham hrudi samnivishtaha. I am seated in their very hearts. So I am the closest to you. Mattaha, from me. Smritihi, jnanam, apohanam cha. You can't do anything without knowledge. Knowledge comes from memory. So that memory comes from me, the consciousness. And that memory becomes knowledge, jnanam. And thank God, there is an aspect in all of us to forget some unpleasant things. Otherwise, life will be miserable. That apohanam, to forget some unpleasant things, that is also me. Memory comes from me, jnanam comes from me, and the capacity to forget, that is also from me. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyam. Vedas means books of knowledge, not necessarily the 4 Vedas that we are familiar with. Books of knowledge is called Vedas. Amongst the various books of knowledge, and even in these 4 Vedas, I alone have to be known. Do not waste your energy in knowing several other things. I have to be known because I am the solution for all our problems. With a mere knowledge, make you discover the one who was thinking the most miserable is God. Therefore, through the Vedas, what should be known is me. Vedaista sarvaihi ahameva vedyam. Ahameva vedyam. I alone should be known. Vedanta krut. I am the author of Vedas. Means didn't sit and write. He is the very subject matter. He is the very one who gives you the power to write, the power to think, the power to know. Without him, there is no Veda. Therefore, Vedanta Krit. And who knows the Veda totally? About me, you all may know a lot of things. But about me, what I know, none of you can completely know. If you had known, you won't come to the class. Right? About me, I alone know completely. So the whole Vedas are about God. So therefore, he says, I alone know me. I alone know me. I am the subject matter of the Vedas. And I alone should be known through the Vedas. I am the author of the Vedas. And I am the knower of the Vedas. Who is this I? You, the consciousness, when you detach from the body, mind, and intellect. When you detach from the body, mind, and intellect, you are that God. You are that God. Just like one sunlight passing through trellis, or it's called jali, splits into many and appears many beams of light. But it's one only. Because of the medium there, it splits into many. One waker, because of the mind, splits into the entire dream world. Right? So it's me, only one, seen through different minds, appear to be many. Like the one sun, reflected in 1,000 buckets, looks 1,000 suns. And if the bucket water is shaky, sun is shaky. If the bucket water is muddy, sun is muddy. But sun is never muddy, sun never shakes, sun is only one. Your consciousness, you are that God, is only one. You are not many. You are not shaky. You are not muddy. Detached from this body, mind, intellect, which makes you limited, like the one sun's light passing through the trellis or jollies, appear to be split, like the one space appears to be split through the walls, like the one waker appears to be split through the mind, like one prism splits one ray of light into several different colors. So what you should do? Remove the prism, remove the buckets of water, throw them out. Remove your vasanas, remove your mind. You shall discover you are that God. How to remove the mind? Nothing, just detach. How to detach? Just see where from the mind is starting, thoughts are starting. That is you. Because he said, Mattaha smrutihi, from me only smruti, thoughts. Jnanam, thoughts. Apohanam, the capacity to forget. All from me. So therefore, how to detach? Just see from where the mind starts. And instead of going with the mind, try to stay with that consciousness. Right? So this is a lovely sloka which makes you not only feel God, which why should I, if I mute, how will you hear?
Sorry,
Not you,
uncle.
somebody else,
But
uncle.
there's some other disturbance happening. So
He has been muted. He has been muted. Yeah.
Mr.
Okay,
Ramesh.
somebody else, is it?
Yes, yes, uncle.
Okay, okay. So the last class, please all cooperate. You have all cooperated, all the classes. I had least problem. In some classes, I had to shout and all that. Here, I didn't have any problem. Right? Thank you all. So, therefore, this is a lovely stanza which gives you the entire data that you need to know you are that God. And also, He is the closest to you. Nobody is closer than Him. And then how do you feel miserable? That's your choice. That's your privilege. That's your choice and that's your privilege to feel miserable. Now, all these various things we talked, one God, becoming the world, becoming you, becoming the sun and the moon and the earth, fertility and all that, several aspects of God, He is summing up what He said and something more than what He has not said. This portion makes 15 chapters special. This last 3-4 verses makes 15 chapters special because it gives all dimensions of God. Different dimensions of God it gives. Before I forget, 2 things I want to tell you. We just did last week that it is God that as Vaishwanara, He digests all the food. Because of this reason, 15th chapter is started in all ashrams and in public religious bhikshas before food. 15th chapter is chanted. If there is no time, they will chant at least that one verse. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamasritaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. Right? So that you have to remember. And then the different dimensions I am talking are not different dimensions of God. God is only one. Because of the covers that cover Him, He appears differently. Water poured in a blue bottle looks blue water. Water poured in a red bottle looks red. Water poured in a, a twisted bottle looks twisted. God is one. He appears differently according to the containers. Detach yourself, you the God, from containers and feel your uniqueness. Right? So now he's going to say, Dvavimau Purushau Loke Charachakchara Yevacha Charas Sarvani Bhutani Kutastokshara Uchyate. Dva imau, these, dvau, two, dvau imau, these, purushau, 2 purushas, loke in the world, charaha, aksharaha, perishable and imperishable. There are 2 purushas in this world. One is chara purusha, another is akshara purusha. Kerala, we have to be careful when we talk about Purusha, because Purusha means for them husband. Two Purushas, they get shocked, right? So Purushas means the one who lives in the Puri city. What is the city? 9-gated city. What are the 9 gates? 7 on the head, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 below. 9 holes, 9-gated city. In this city lives the God, therefore he is called Purusha. Here he has 2 roles. One is to join with the vasanas and do all functions with the body, mind, intellect as an ego. Is called Kshetrajna, 13th chapter we did. Because these mediums are perishable, he appears as though perishable. When the bucket of water is thrown out, you feel sun is thrown out. Sun is not thrown out. Similarly, Chara Purusha is called perishable Purusha because of the medium. The medium is thrown out, he is there with him. What happens when the buckets of water thrown out? Sun is ever there. This reflected sun merges with the original sun. Merges means you have to understand it. Don't literally take it. Similarly, when this Chara medium is thrown out, he merges with the real self. So that one God functioning through this medium appear to be the perishable Purusha, Chara Purusha, like the one sun. If the waters are muddy, looks muddy, waters are shaky, he is shaky. That is called ego. That is called Kshetrajna. So that is one dimension of yours. You, the God, functioning with your vasanas, you become the ego, Mr. So and so. Kshetrajna. There is another dimension in you which witnesses all these changes, including the function of this ego. This ego is disturbed, this ego is peaceful, this ego is disturbed, this ego is peaceful. But there is one who is watching this ego and never disturbed. Mundakopanishad gives the example of 2 birds. One bird is eating fruits, one comes bitter, one is sweet and blow hot, blow cold, sometimes joy, sometimes sorrow. It gets fed up with its life and sometimes it looks inside. There is one inside, one bird like me, but he's not disturbed. That second bird is the consciousness, Kutastha. Kutastha is, Kuta means anvil. Kutastha, you beat iron rods on that. Iron rods will break, nothing will happen to the anvil. Kutastha, like an anvil, he is supporting even this ego, all activities, and even this ego he is supporting. Therefore, he is called Kutastha. Right? There is another meaning for Kutastha. If I tell that, you get confused. Because these are the 2 right meanings you need. If I tell, you get confused. But I would like to tell you, so just listen and drop it. Don't get confused. This whole body is called garbage, filthy matter, fecal matter. He is sitting inside this garbage. Therefore, he is called Kutastha. You just forget it. This information will help you sometime. When you study for 7, 8 years, listen to somebody, it may help you. Right now, forget. Only 2 dimensions you remember. One is the ego. The other is the witness. Right? The ego personality is called Chara Purusha. The other is called Akshara Purusha. Jiva and Sakshi Chaitanya. Jiva, Abhasa Chaitanya is called, because it's a reflection, like in the bucket of water. That's called Abhasa Chaitanya. The other is called Kutastha Chaitanya, witness, changeless. two Purushas, right? And now he says, there is one more. Uttama Purushastvanyaha Paramatmetyudahkrutaha Yoglokatrayamavishya Vibhartavyaya Ishvaraha. This is the first time he is clearly declaring this ultimate dimension. This Chara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, we come across in 7th chapter. We Para Prakriti, Apara Prakriti. We come across in the 13th chapter too. But there is one more, that is the ultimate, is told now. If two roles are changed, there should be a third entity. I was a father, I am a son. Father is not the son, son is not the father. Therefore, there is one person who, with reference to something, is called father. With reference to something else, he is called the son. Similarly, with reference to the activity of the ego, he is called Jiva. With reference to his being a witness, he is called Kutastha. And because he assumes two roles, he is different from both. He is the one who takes these two. I take the role of the father, I take the role of the son. Therefore, I am different from father and son. And that I is the one who changes roles, but he never changes. Therefore, that is the ultimate I. Father I, relative. Son I, relative. The I that takes the father I and relative I never changes. That is absolute. That is absolute. Paramarthika satta. The others are vyavaharika satta. Absolute reality, relative reality, reflective reality. What you don't catch are not necessary. Drop them. It's enough if you remember what you can catch. That's alone needed for your life. What you cannot catch, you do not worry. Right? So now I have several dimensions. Why? I am the God. I am the creator. I am the sustainer. I am the destroyer. I am the sun. I am the moon. I am the earth. I am the stars. How many dimensions I have? Endless. But all of them are brought into three main heads. One is the individual, Jiva, who acts prompted by his vasanas through the various equipments, body, mind, intellect. Jiva, Kshetrajna, Kshara-purusha. Remember, all the three are synonyms. Jiva, Kshetrajna, Kshara-purusha. The other is Kutastha Chaitanya, the one who supports all, Sakshi. Therefore, he doesn't change. Akshara-purusha. He's called Akshara-purusha, doesn't change. Sakshi Chaitanya. Akshara-purusha, Sakshi Chaitanya. Right? And then these two belong to the one who is common in all jivas. The jiva in my body is different. The jiva in another body is different. Right? The Kutastha in me is witness of all my activities. But there is one who alone has taken these roles, like the one sun became many suns in the many buckets. Many buckets. That one sun, the ultimate, is naturally the highest, the topmost, the absolute. Therefore, this is called Kshara-purusha Jiva, Akshara-purusha witness, Purushottama, the highest Purusha is that. How many Purushas now? Kshara-purusha, Akshara-purusha, Purushottama. Who are all they? You. You, when you identify with the BMI, Kshara Purusha. When you witness Akshara Purusha, beyond both of them, Purushottama. Okay. Uttama Purushastvanyaha Paramatmetyudahruta Yo Lokatrayamavishya Vibhartavyaya Ishvaraha. This Lord alone, Lokatrayamavishya, waking dream and deep sleep worlds, having entered into Vibharti Avyaya Ishvaraha, that imperishable God alone supports all your activities in the waking, dream, and deep sleep. In the waking, dream, and deep sleep, He alone supports all your activities. Right? Yasmat Charamati Toham Acharadapi Chottamaha Atosmi Loke Vedecha Purushottama Purushottamaha. Why am I called Purushottama? Yasmat, for this reason, Charam Atitoham, I am beyond the perishable. Aksharadapi, I am beyond even the imperishable. Kutastha. Uttamaha, I am the highest, best, topmost. Ataha, therefore, Asmi Loke Vede Pratitaha, in this world and in the Vedas, Pratitaha, declared Purushottamaha. I am declared as the Purushottama. Yo mam eva evam asammoodaha janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Yo, yaha, whoever he may be, mam eva, me alone, the consciousness, the Chaitanya, asammoodaha, free from any confusion, undeluded. No doubt, Janati knows Purushottamam, this imperishable, absolute being, Sa Sarvavit, he knows everything. The knower of gold knows all gold in all ornaments. The knower of water knows all water in all the waves and the bubbles. The knower of the waker knows all the dream characters to be the waker. The knower of Purushottamam knows everything else to be that Purushottama. Sarvabhavena Bharata. And therefore, what does it do? Because it is the same God everywhere, because He Himself is that God. So, whatever He encounters, whomever He meets, whatever He does, He worships Him, He serves Him, He is devoted to Him. Bhaja means three meanings. Seek, He seeks Him. He worships me, Bhaja. Bhaja, serve Him. Bhaja has three meanings. Seek, serve, and worship. Seek through the intellect, serve through the body, worship through the mind. So having known that I alone am everything, in all forms, in all ways, in all modes, He seeks me, He worships me, He serves me. And the last verse, iti guhyatamam shastram yadamuktam mayanakha etad buddha buddhimam syat kritakrityascha bharata. Iti, thus, guhyatamam, guhyam, secret, guhyataram, comparative, greater secret, guhyatamam, topmost secret. Iti guhyatamam shastram, science, teaching, idam, this one, uktam, told, maya, by me, anagha, O sinless one. What is sinless one? Often it tells, no ego, a good, pure, plain-hearted, lovable person. That's all. Etad buddha, having understood, buddhiman syat, become wise, having knowing this, Shastra, what I taught you, become wise. Kritakrityascha Bharata. Feel the fulfillment. Kritakritya. Feel the fulfillment of your life. Find you have nothing more to gain. You have gained all that has to be gained. That is called Kritakritya. Kritakritya, the one who has done all that has to be done. No incompleteness, no agenda left. When Buddhiman, right? Having understood, one becomes wise, then he has become fulfilled, nothing more to do. Gurudev explains this beautifully. What is this Buddha Buddhiman, having known, become wise? What is this? Sugar is there in the coffee cup. You shout there saying, no, you didn't put sugar. The wife says, there is a spoon in the cup. Yes, stir it. Sugar is down. When you stir, you become silent and drink the coffee. Similarly, this knowledge is put into the cup of your intellect. Now, you have to stir it with the intellect. Amrita Manthan. This knowledge is put into your head. Stir it with the intellect. Amrita Manthan. Then you become wise and you achieve fullness, completeness. Om Tassat iti Srimad Bhagavad Geetha Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade Purushottama Yogo Nam Panchadashodhyaya. So, Om Tassat, that's the way to end. It is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is nothing but the essence of Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam, the greatest knowledge, along with the means to achieve it, Yoga Shastri, Sri Krishnarjuna Samvade, in the form of dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyaya. Thank you all. I have something to be done. I told you that Sri Gurudev recommends even people with little rudimentary knowledge should read this because it's so beautifully done by Sri Shankara. The commentary in Kathopanishad, because this verse, this inverted tree comes in Kathopanishad, from there only Geetha Charya took into Geetha. So there the commentary is so beautiful. Gurudev says, all of you listen to it. Even if you have little Sanskrit knowledge, you will enjoy. I am going to read first English, I will read. So that Sanskrit, when I read, having heard English, some you may understand. Though Sanskrit is what is meant to be read by Gurudev, is beautiful. But I first read English and then read Sanskrit. Urdhamulaha, that which has its roots above. The root, that is the state of Supreme Vishnu. This tree of the world, comprising everything from the unmanifest to the immovables, has its roots above, is called Vruksha, tree, because of the root meaning. That is Vrukchanat Vrukshaha. Because it can be cut, it's called Vruksha. This samsara you can detach, completely detach. And therefore it's called Vruksha, of being felt. It consists of many evils, such as birth, old age, death, sorrow, etc. It changes itself every moment, inasmuch as no sooner it is seen than its nature is destroyed like magic. I gave you the example of Ganges. You cannot see it more than 1 minute because the river has flowed. Water in a mirage, a city in the sky, and it ceases to exist, ultimately like a tree. It is without any hard wood, like the stem of a plantain tree. In a plantain, there is no pith, so there is no hard wood. It's subject to hundreds of doubts in the minds of skeptics. Its reality is determined in its true color by the seekers of truth. Its essence lies in the root, the Supreme Brahman, ascertained in Vedanta. It grows from out of the seed of ignorance. desire, action, and the unmanifested. It has for its sprout Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is Brahmaji, the inferior Brahman, comprising the two powers of knowledge and action, Kriya Shakti and Jnana Shakti. Desire, action of the unmanifested. It has for its sprout Hiranyagarbha, the inferior Brahman, comprising the two powers of knowledge and action. It has for its strength the diverse subtle bodies of all creatures. Its vigor of growth results from the sprinkling of water, desire. Desire is the water. It has for its tender sprouts the objects of the sense of knowledge, Vishaya Pravalaha. Its leaves are the Vedas, Chandamsi Yasya Parnani. The Smritis, logic, learning, and instruction. Its lovely flowers are the many deeds, such as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc. Its various states are the experience of happiness and sorrow. Its innumerable fruits are the means of sustenance of beings. It has its secondary roots well developed, entwined, and firmly fixed through the sprinkling of the water of desire. It has for its seat the seven worlds beginning from the one called Satya, built by the birds which are living beings from Brahma downwards. It has its uproar, rendered tumultuous through the various sounds arising from dancing, singing, instrumental music, disport, play, clapping on the arms, laughing, pulling, crying, claiming, alas, alas, leave me, leave me. All dancing music normally. When it becomes too much, leave me, induced by mirth and grief, arising from the enjoyment and pain of living beings, and it is felled by the weapon of detachment, consisting of the realization of the identity of Brahman and the self as inculcated by Vedanta. The tree of the world is an aswatha. Its nature is ever unsteady, like the peepal tree, shaken as it is by the wind of desire and deeds. It is avakshaha, downwards, or its branches, consisting of heaven, hell, and states of beasts and ghosts. Even heaven is down the root of the tree because the root is with the Brahman. So heaven is also down. Sanatanaha, existing from time immemorial, having no beginning. Tadeva, that very thing, which is the root of the tree of the world, is Shukram, white, pure, resplendent. This is Kathopanishad. That much is enough for the Geetha. Now I read the Sanskrit. Whether you understand or not, just listen. That's enough. Yeah. Urdhva Mula. Urdhvam Moolam Yat Tad Vishnoho Paramam Yad Padam Asya Iti Saha Avyayam Saha Avyaktadi Thavarantaha Samsara trying to turn the page. Samsara Vruksha Urdhva Mulaha. Vrukshacha Vrushanat. Vrushanat, because it can get cut, it is called Vruksha. Janma Jara Marana Shoka Dyaneka Anardhakaha. Pratikshanam Anyatha Swabhavaha. Maya Marichi Udaka Gandharva Nagaradi Vat Drushta Nasta Swarupatvad Avasanecha. Drushta Nasta Swarupa. If you see something, it is perishable because it's an object. Drushta Nasta Swabhavat Avasanecha Vruchavad Abhavatmakaha Kadali Stambhavat Nissaraha Aneka Shatapakanda Buddhi Vikalpaspadaha Tattva Vignasubihi Vignasubihi Nirdharita Yetam idam tattvaha vedanta nirdharitaha Parabrahma Moola Sarah, Avidya Kama Karma Vyakta Bija Prabhavo, Apara Brahma, Vijnana Kriya Shakti, Dvayatmaka, Hiranya Garbhankuraha, Sarva Prani Linga Veda Skandha, Trushna Jalava Sokod Bhuta Darpo, Buddhindriya Vishaya Pravala Ankuraha, Sruti Smruti Nyaya Vidyopadesha Desha Palashu Yajna Dana Tapaha Adi Aneka Kriya Supushpaha Sukadukka Vedananeka Rasaha Prana Upajivyananta Palasta Trushna Salilavati ಏಕ ಪ್ರರೂಢ ಜಡೀಕೃತ ದೃಢವೃದ್ಧ ಮೂಲಃ ಸತ್ಯನಾಮಾದಿ ಸಪ್ತಲೋಕ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾದಿ ಭೂತ ಪಕ್ಷೀಕೃತ ನೀಡಃ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೋದ್ಭೂತ ಹರ್ಷ ಶೋಕ ಜಾತ ನೃತ್ಯ ಗೀತ ವಾದಿತ್ರ ಕ್ಷೇಳಿತ ಸ್ಫೋಟಿತ ಹಸಿತ ಕೃಷ್ಟ ರುದಿತ ಹಾ ಮುಂಚ ಇತಿ ಆದ್ಯನೇಕ ಶಬ್ದಕೃತ ತುಮಲೀಭೂತ ಮಹಾರವೋ ವೇದಾಂತ ವಿಹಿತ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾತ್ಮ ದರ್ಶನ ಸಂಗ ಶಸ್ತ್ರ ಕೃತೋಚ್ಛೇದ ಏವ ಸಂಸಾರ ವೃಕ್ಷೋ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥವತ್ ಕಾಮ ಕರ್ಮಾವತ ಏರಿತಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಪ್ರಚಲಿತ ಸ್ವಭಾವ ಸ್ವರ್ಗ ನರಕ ತಿರ್ಯಕ್ ಪ್ರೇತಾದಿಭಿಃ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಭಿಃ ಅವಾಕ್ಷಕಃ ಸನಾತನೋ ಅನಾದಿವತ್ ಚಿರಂ ಪ್ರವೃತ್ತಃ. That's all. Thank you all. God bless you all. Right. We shall meet. If some of you are joining next Tuesday, start the 16th chapter, God willing.
Hari Om, uncle. Thank you so much, uncle.
Hari Om, all of you. God bless you.
Love you so much, uncle. Love you.
Thank you. That's all.